The sun hung low over the city park, casting long golden streaks across the walking paths. Children laughed as they played, joggers passed by in rhythm, and elderly couples strolled with quiet smiles. In the midst of this serene scene, Steven Seagal walked with an almost imperceptible confidence. He didn't need to announce his presence. People instinctively felt the aura of a man who had mastered both mind and body. A group of park security guards noticed him. They were a small team, young, overconfident, and used to exerting authority over anyone who crossed their path. They exchanged smirks and whispered among themselves. "Who does this guy think he is?" one muttered, eyeing Seagal like he was a trespasser rather than a guest. Seagal, as always, remained calm. His gaze swept the surroundings with subtle awareness, noting the guards' postures, their movement, their energy. There was no anger in his eyes, only observation. The guards, misinterpreting this tranquility as weakness, shared another smirk. They decided to approach him. One of them, clearly the leader of the group, stepped forward. His stride was loud and aggressive, meant to intimidate. Seagal didn't flinch or even step back. He simply continued walking, fluid and unbothered. The calm confidence radiating from him only seemed to irritate the guards more. "Hey! Stop right there!" the lead guard barked, blocking Seagal's path. The surrounding bystanders noticed immediately. Phones quietly appeared, capturing the confrontation. Some moved closer, curious. Others instinctively stepped back, sensing tension rising. The guards were now openly challenging him. They were certain that a shove or a threat would force compliance. But Seagal wasn't a man who reacted to provocation. He stopped, raised his hand slightly, not in surrender, but in subtle control, and spoke in a calm, measured tone. "Gentlemen," he said quietly, yet every word carried weight, "there is no need for hostility." The guards, however, were too arrogant to heed caution. Their frustration mounted as they misread his stillness for fear. And in a reckless moment of overconfidence, one of them made a shocking move, one that would instantly change everything in the park. What happened next left everyone in the park absolutely stunned. The park seemed to hold its breath. Bystanders paused mid-step, joggers slowed their pace, and a few parents instinctively shielded their children as the tension built. Steven Seagal's calm presence contrasted sharply with the growing arrogance of the park security guards. They had never encountered someone who refused to react to their bluster. "Come on, move aside," the lead guard barked, stepping closer. His tone carried authority, but also irritation. The other guards flanked him, forming a small blockade as if they were about to teach Seagal a lesson. Seagal simply paused, hands relaxed at his sides, his gaze sweeping the group without a hint of fear. His stance was balanced, controlled, a subtle warning to anyone misjudging him. The guards misread it entirely. To them, calm meant weakness. One of the younger guards, eager to prove himself, stepped forward aggressively. He jabbed his finger toward Seagal's chest, almost shoving him. "Don't ignore me," he snapped. The crowd collectively gasped. Phones quietly rose, recording the confrontation. A small group of people exchanged worried glances. Everyone instinctively felt this could escalate quickly. Seagal tilted his head slightly, assessing. His body didn't tense, but his eyes sharpened, like a predator recognizing an imminent threat. He didn't speak, didn't move. Silence was his shield. But the arrogance of youth and entitlement clouded the guards' judgment. They wanted an immediate response. The leader whispered something to the younger guard, encouraging him to make a more decisive move. And that's when it happened. In a reckless display of bravado, the guard kicked Seagal in the face. Time seemed to slow. The kick, poorly aimed and fueled by overconfidence, connected with a fraction of force, but it was enough to provoke an immediate reaction. The park fell silent. Phones flashed in unison, capturing the shocking act. Children stopped crying, joggers froze mid-stride, and adults instinctively leaned back, shocked by the audacity. Seagal remained perfectly calm, but his body responded instantly. Not with rage, not with a wild strike, but with controlled precision. His head tilted just enough to deflect the impact, and the momentum of the guard's kick worked against him. In one fluid motion, Seagal shifted his weight, maintaining perfect balance, neutralizing the guard's aggression. The guard stumbled, off balance, his confidence crumbling in an instant. Other guards tried to intervene, rushing towards Seagal with anger, but he anticipated every movement. Each step, each block, each redirect was smooth, calculated, and effortless. The crowd watched in awe. Seagal didn't need to raise his voice. He didn't need to lash out violently. Every motion spoke volumes. Arrogance could not withstand skill, calm, and control. Have you ever seen someone publicly disrespected and then completely turn the tables? Comment below, calm or fight back, and tell us where you're watching from. The park's energy shifted. The guards' arrogance faltered under the weight of Seagal's mastery. Their confidence that had once filled the space now seemed fragile and misplaced. Bystanders whispered, "That's Steven Seagal. No way. He's a master. They're in big trouble." Seagal's expression remained neutral. He didn't gloat, didn't smirk. His goal wasn't to humiliate. His goal was to demonstrate control, to end aggression without unnecessary violence, and to remind the arrogant that actions have consequences. Seconds after the kick, it was clear, the balance of power had changed. The crowd's eyes were fixed entirely on Seagal. Phones captured every nuance, every subtle movement that showcased his dominance. The guards, humiliated and exposed, were now unsure of their next move. Seagal, calm and collected, took a single step forward. The stance was subtle but commanding. It silently warned the guards, any further aggression would end badly, but they could still walk away with dignity if they chose. The tension in the park was electric. The audience knew something legendary had just begun. The park's atmosphere had shifted completely. What was once an ordinary afternoon stroll had transformed into a live spectacle. Bystanders held their breath as Steven Seagal's calm presence contrasted sharply with the faltering arrogance of the park's security guards. The one who had kicked him in the face was already staggering, his confidence shattered. Seagal's movements were deliberate yet fluid. Without raising his voice, he adjusted his stance, subtly stepping to the side. His motion was so smooth that it seemed effortless, almost casual, but it carried the weight of decades of mastery. The guard who had initiated the attack tried to regain his footing, but Seagal's precise positioning ensured that any attempt to strike again would be met with complete control. The other guards, seeing their colleague stumble, rushed forward as a group. They were fueled by adrenaline and embarrassment, determined to assert authority. But Seagal anticipated every movement before it happened. He used small, calculated redirects of force, deflecting momentum rather than meeting it head-on. Each guard's aggressive attempt was neutralized within seconds. Their bodies shifted, tripped, or were gently but firmly guided away from any offensive position. The crowd couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Parents pulled their children back, and joggers paused mid-stride, phones held high to record. Everyone was silent except for the faint sound of shoes shuffling and shallow breaths. Seagal's calm demeanor was the most astonishing aspect. He didn't throw punches for show. He didn't yell. There was no excessive force, no dramatics. Every motion was controlled, purposeful, and efficient. The message was clear: arrogance and aggression are instantly punished, but mastery and control command respect. If someone disrespected you publicly, what would you do? Stay calm like Seagal or fight back immediately? Comment your answer below with your city and country. The guards were now visibly shaken. Their earlier confidence evaporated under Seagal's quiet authority. Each movement they made was hesitant, defensive, and ineffective. They realized too late that they had underestimated him. One guard attempted a desperate grab, lunging toward Seagal's arm. In a single, seamless motion, Seagal pivoted, redirecting the guard's momentum. The guard stumbled forward, tripping over the curb. No injury occurred, yet the humiliation was instant and total. The bystanders erupted in whispers and gasps. "He's a master. That's Steven Seagal. Look at his control." Phones captured the moment from every angle. Videos were already being shared in real time. The scene was turning viral even before it ended. Seagal then took a calm, deliberate step forward, his presence commanding silence. His gaze swept over the remaining guards, a silent warning. One wrong move and the lesson will continue, but there is still a way out. Walk away with dignity. The lead guard, trembling, hesitated. His mind raced. They had come to assert power over a celebrity, but they were now completely exposed. Their arrogance had been punished instantly, not with unnecessary brutality, but with skill and composure that left them completely off balance. Seagal's mastery was not just physical, it was psychological. The crowd felt it. The guards felt it. Even the air in the park seemed to hum with tension. Every eye was fixed on him. Respect had replaced fear, but the lesson was unforgettable. True skill commands authority, and arrogance invites immediate consequence. By now, the bystanders were whispering, pointing, and taking endless footage. Everyone understood they had witnessed a rare moment where ego collided with mastery, and mastery always wins. The park, once calm and ordinary, had transformed into a stage for an unforgettable lesson in humility, control, and respect. Seagal stood quietly, surveying the scene, his presence alone a statement. Arrogance can strike first, but mastery always answers perfectly. The atmosphere in the park was electric. What had started as a casual afternoon stroll had transformed into a spectacle nobody would forget. Parents, joggers, and casual parkgoers now stood frozen, their phones raised, recording every single movement. The whispers had started, quiet at first, but growing louder with each passing second. "Isn't that Steven Seagal?" a woman muttered, her eyes wide. "No way. He's a master," a young man replied, barely daring to speak. Seagal's calm demeanor only magnified the guard's humiliation. Each movement he made was precise and deliberate, but to the untrained eye, it almost appeared effortless. The one who had kicked him in the face now backed away, his posture completely defeated. The other guards hesitated, unsure of how to proceed. Every instinct they had relied upon, the arrogance, the intimidation, the sense of authority, had been dismantled with ease. The crowd began to lean forward, captivated. They weren't witnessing a fight, they were witnessing mastery in action. Each subtle pivot, each controlled redirection of force, spoke volumes more than words ever could. Seagal didn't gloat. He didn't need to. His presence alone commanded respect. The lesson was clear. Skill, patience, and composure dominate brute aggression and arrogance every time. A few daring bystanders whispered among themselves. "He doesn't even look like he's trying, and they can't touch him. Look at the control. That's decades of training." The guards, sensing the shift, attempted to regain authority. One of them took a cautious step forward, thinking a show of strength might restore some semblance of power. Seagal shifted slightly, maintaining balance and composure. The single movement was enough. The guard faltered, stumbling as if the ground itself was against him. The crowd gasped. Every phone recorded the humiliation in slow motion, the expressions of arrogance crumbling, the reality of the situation sinking in. Seagal took a step back, giving the guards just enough room to retreat if they wished. His gaze was calm but penetrating. The message was silent yet unmistakable. One wrong move and the lesson could continue, but wisdom allows them a way out. Have you ever seen someone completely outclass others without raising their voice? Comment below with your city and country and share your thoughts. Some spectators, now recognizing the legend before them, whispered excitedly, "That's Steven Seagal, the action legend." He's not just acting, this is real skill. Even the children sensed the gravity of the situation, staying close to their parents. The guards' faces turned red with shame. The arrogance that had fueled their aggression moments ago had been replaced by fear, embarrassment, and the stark realization that they had underestimated a true master. The park, once ordinary and calm, now resembled a stage. Every observer knew they were witnessing something rare, a live demonstration of skill, control, and the undeniable consequences of arrogance. Seagal remained composed, surveying the scene, his calm aura commanding silence. The guards, humbled and visibly shaken, realized the full extent of their miscalculation. The power dynamic had shifted entirely. From the first kick to this moment, the lesson was unmistakable. Arrogance can provoke, but mastery responds with authority, precision, and calm, turning the instigator's energy against them while leaving dignity intact. The crowd's excitement built, not from violence, but from witnessing the embodiment of true skill. They understood that respect and mastery were far more powerful than brute aggression. Every whisper, every gasp, every phone recording contributed to a moment that would go down in history, a lesson in humility delivered silently, flawlessly, and instantly. The park was now completely silent, yet electric with anticipation. Bystanders who had been quietly observing were now leaning in, their eyes wide with awe. Steven Seagal stood calm, his stance steady, as the remaining security guards struggled to regain their composure. They had begun the confrontation with arrogance and overconfidence, but now, under the scrutiny of the crowd and the unshakable presence of a true master, they faltered. The lead guard, trembling slightly, took a cautious step forward. His eyes darted nervously between Seagal's calm gaze and the surrounding crowd, trying to muster the bravado he had displayed minutes before. But Seagal's aura was undeniable. Every movement, every subtle shift of his weight, communicated dominance without aggression. Then, one of the guards, emboldened by desperation, attempted to lunge at Seagal. His foot lifted, his hand swung, fueled by the last remnants of ego and pride. But Seagal was already one step ahead. With a smooth pivot and a precise redirection, he used the guard's own momentum against him. The guard stumbled, off balance, and nearly fell, his attack nullified effortlessly. The crowd gasped audibly. Phones captured every second, recording the flawless execution of skill. It was not a display of violence, but of complete control. Every guard who approached was met not with brute force, but with perfectly measured moves that neutralized aggression. Another guard tried to block Seagal's path, thinking intimidation could still work. Seagal sidestepped, guiding the guard past him with a simple touch that redirected energy harmlessly yet decisively. Each motion was smooth, deliberate, and calculated. The lesson was unmistakable: arrogance provokes, but mastery commands respect. Seagal then took a slow step forward, his eyes scanning each guard in turn. He did not raise his voice. He did not strike unnecessarily. Yet the power in his presence was overwhelming. Every guard froze, uncertainty and fear taking the place of pride and confidence. The bystanders erupted in whispers. "He's a master. He didn't even have to hit them. They're completely exposed. Look at their faces. It's Steven Seagal. Real skill." Even the lead guard, the one who had delivered the initial kick, was visibly shaken. His legs wobbled, his jaw tightened, and his eyes avoided Seagal's penetrating gaze. He realized instantly that arrogance and aggression had been his downfall, while Seagal's calm, precise mastery had turned the tables completely. Seagal's movements were deliberate, measured, and controlled. He allowed the guards just enough room to retreat if they chose. One false move could have caused serious injury, but Seagal did not seek to harm unnecessarily. His goal was not humiliation, it was to demonstrate the consequences of reckless arrogance. The park, once ordinary and serene, had transformed into a stage for a live lesson in humility and skill. Every onlooker was witnessing a masterclass in control, timing, and calm authority. Parents shielded their children slightly, but they too were captivated. The air was thick with awe and tension. If someone disrespected you publicly, how would you respond? Stay calm like Seagal or fight back immediately? Comment your answer with your city and country. Seagal's mastery was not just physical, it was psychological. The guards' energy had been dismantled. They were no longer aggressors. They were humbled spectators of a lesson delivered with perfection. Each motion by Seagal reinforced the truth that skill and calmness will always prevail over arrogance and brute force. The crowd erupted in quiet applause and whispers, recording and sharing what they saw. The park had witnessed something extraordinary, a demonstration of discipline, control, and mastery that left arrogance completely powerless. By the time Seagal took a step back and allowed the guards to recover, the message was clear: respect is earned, arrogance is punished, and true mastery commands authority effortlessly. The tension in the park had reached its peak, yet the spectacle was far from over. The remaining security guards, humbled and shaken, began to grasp the full reality of the situation. Their arrogance had collided with Seagal's calm, precise mastery, and they had lost instantly. Their initial bravado evaporated like smoke in the wind, leaving them exposed, embarrassed, and unsure how to respond. Bystanders, meanwhile, were captivated. The whispers had grown louder, merging into a chorus of awe. "That's Steven Seagal," someone shouted. "He didn't even break a sweat." Another voice responded, "They underestimated him completely. They've been humbled instantly." Phones were held high, recording every moment from multiple angles. Videos began circulating immediately, some already being live-streamed to social media. Within minutes, the incident was trending online. Clips of Seagal's calm but decisive neutralization of the arrogant guards were shared thousands of times. The headline practically wrote itself. "Steven Seagal silences arrogant park security, crowd stunned." Seagal didn't move aggressively now. He simply walked slowly between the guards, allowing them to recover physically but not psychologically. Each step reinforced his control of the situation, and each subtle gesture reminded them of the consequences of arrogance. A gentle pivot, a redirection of energy, a calm gaze, each action was a lesson in mastery without malice. The lead guard, the one who had kicked Seagal initially, now trembled. His colleagues glanced nervously at him, then at Seagal. It was clear that their confidence, which had seemed unshakable moments ago, had been dismantled completely. Even a single look from Seagal was enough to freeze any further attempt at aggression. Have you ever witnessed someone completely owning a situation without aggression? Comment below with your city and country and tell us how you would react in this moment. Seagal's subtle but authoritative presence dominated the park. The crowd recognized the lesson unfolding before them. Arrogance provokes, but true skill neutralizes without unnecessary force. Each bystander was absorbing the demonstration, not just of martial arts, but of discipline, patience, and psychological mastery. Some of the security guards now tried to step away, hoping to retreat without further humiliation. Seagal made no move to stop them, his composure intact. The message was clear: the choice to leave gracefully remained theirs, but respect had to be earned. The cameras captured every nuance: the guards' hesitation, their faltering confidence, the subtle shifts in their posture as they realized the full scope of their mistake. The bystanders recorded every angle, sharing clips with commentary that praised Seagal's skill and patience. The park had become a live classroom, a stage for an unforgettable lesson in humility. Parents explained to their children that real strength isn't shown through aggression but through control and calm mastery. Young people watching on their phones shared the clips instantly, spreading the story across social media platforms. Within minutes, hashtags exploded. Hashtag Seagal Mastery, hashtag Instant Respect, hashtag Arrogance Paid the Price. Videos went viral across Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. The guards, now fully humbled, had become examples of what happens when arrogance meets true expertise. Seagal didn't celebrate. He didn't gloat. He simply allowed the moment to resonate, letting the crowd and the guards fully understand the lesson. Mastery, control, and calmness had won the day, leaving arrogance humbled and respect earned. As Seagal walked toward the park exit, the crowd erupted in applause and cheers. Phones continued recording, capturing the final moments of a spectacle that would be remembered and shared worldwide. The message was unmissable: arrogance is punished instantly, but mastery commands respect effortlessly. The park, once an ordinary space filled with casual walkers and joggers, had transformed into a stage for a lesson that no one would forget. Steven Seagal's calm, precise mastery had completely humbled the arrogant security guards. Yet, as he walked away, there was no celebration, no gloating, only a quiet demonstration of power and composure that left an indelible mark on everyone present. By this point, phones had captured every second. Videos spread instantly across social media platforms. Within minutes, clips were shared thousands of times, with captions praising Seagal's skill, patience, and the swift humiliation of the overconfident guards. News outlets picked up the story. Steven Seagal teaches arrogant park security a lesson, crowd stunned. Arrogance meets mastery. The day Seagal silenced security guards instantly. The guards themselves were shaken. Their confidence, once unshakable, had been dismantled in seconds by skill and calm authority. Some of them posted apologies online, acknowledging their mistake and admitting they had underestimated Seagal. The lesson was clear: arrogance and aggression cannot withstand mastery and control. The crowd in the park continued to cheer. People discussed what had just occurred in hushed, reverent tones. Children pointed to their parents and said, "He didn't even hit them hard, but they can't touch him." Parents nodded, explaining the importance of skill, patience, and calmness over brute force. The lesson was being shared, not just visually, but psychologically. The social media response was immediate and overwhelming. Hashtags like #SeagalMastery, #InstantRespect, and #arrogance paid the price trended across platforms. Influencers posted their commentary, breaking down every move, every pivot, every subtle shift in Seagal's posture that displayed total control. Video compilations were made, adding slow-motion replays to highlight his fluid mastery. Even those who weren't present in the park felt the impact. Millions watched the clips worldwide, learning the lesson firsthand: skill, composure, and strategy always triumph over rash aggression. Parents shared the clips with their children. Martial arts students analyzed his movements for technique. Motivational speakers used the story to teach leadership and patience. Seagal, meanwhile, had already left the park, walking calmly along the tree-lined paths, completely composed. His work was done. There was no need to celebrate or seek attention. The moment itself, the lesson delivered, the arrogance humbled, the crowd inspired, was enough. The guards, humbled and shaken, were left with a powerful personal reminder: disrespect provokes, but mastery answers. Arrogance is punished instantly, and the consequences can unfold faster than anyone expects. The moral of the story was clear: true strength is quiet, precise, and composed. Aggression and arrogance may seem powerful, but skill and control always dominate. As the sun set over the park, painting the sky with streaks of orange and pink, the crowd slowly dispersed. Phones were still recording, whispers continued, and the story had already begun to travel far beyond the park's boundaries. If you believe respect and mastery always win over arrogance, type respect in the comments. Share this story with someone who needs to see it, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible real-life moments like this one.